I understand it just really in a primary way, because that's all I really do have. But, okay, so everything is a cell. And a cell is like a toroidal of energy, or a donut of energy. And that cell, that cell is managed, directed by the information provided to it through our DNA or the human code. And the information is like in the microbiome, or the bacteria, or the mRNA, the messengers that tell the cell what to do. Everything is information. And so every cell, the universe is 99.9% plasma, they say. So everything is plasma. There's no empty space. It's like we're in a bowl of Jell-O with no air in there. It's not like we're in a bowl and there's Jell-O above us or anything like that. The Jell-O is everything. The cells, the plasma. And in that Jell-O are different organisms that thrive organically based on their direction. And if they are organically fed and managed and not corrupted or made sick in some way through whatever method, intentionally or not. If they are functioning perfectly, then they work together and everything's great. The cells, another thing to think about is, so these cells make organs, so all the information-directed cells that contain organ directions function together, but they're replaced on a regular basis. So we're not talking about organs, we're talking about the instructions that direct the organs that we should be interested in, and what feeds that information. The information is there, but caring for that information and respecting it and feeding the cell based on that information. Because, okay, so then a multiplication of cells creates the organs, which create the body. And we don't know it, but the skin is an organ. I mean, we know it, but most of us don't think of a skin that way, even though we should. And so even our fascia is a connective tissue within this unification of cells that are all interdependent, completely interdependent. And if one is sick, so is the other. So that's the body, and then the body is multiplied in places, and so then we've got the bigger organism, the family, we've got the bigger organism, the community, the bigger organism, the state, the nation. And to the extent that these like directed or not, so to the extent that these instructed groups of cells can function together in unison, in harmony, based on that natural rhythm within each, if they can, we're a happy place. But if those things don't get the right ingredients, or they're made sick in some way, they don't function well, and that causes a problem in the whole system. And the problem is that we are helped, we think, we thought, by the medical association that doesn't at all see things that way, nor do they take into consideration the whole person, nor are they up to date. And to top it all off, the medical association is a predatory capitalistic institution. Has been from the beginning, was always intended to be. And that's who we've got to direct us. I'm not supposed to get off on that. Okay, so back to, so then we've got the earth, and to the extent that it functions well together, right? We've got water, we've got minerals, we've got mountains, we've got whatever we've been left with, or whatever we were given in the beginning. It is a sum of the organisms from the past. And to the extent that they took care of those organically, is to the degree that we have the ability to be healthy off the land. And if we can't be, then at least we need to know that in order to help ourselves. But we have never been given the right information from outside ourselves. We expected to get truth when we got here. I don't know why. I ask myself that all the time. Cindy, why? Did you expect that someone would just come and keep truth for you and reconcile everything and then present it to you in a nice little book? I got the little book, but it sure wasn't true. And so we've been living off deception for ourselves, for everything. I remember one of my favorite stories was the father that was working and the son wanted to play ball, and the father said, "Give me 10 minutes, give me 10 minutes. The little boy kept getting frustrated, and finally the father tore up the cover of a magazine, and on the outside of the magazine there was a world, the world, and on the other side of the magazine there was a man. Well, the father was shocked when the boy put the puzzle, or the pieces that the father had torn up to make into a puzzle, the boy put it together so quickly. And the father said, "How did you do that?" And he said, "I just put the man together, because when you get the man together, the whole world will fall into place." And if that isn't the truth, We need to merge humanity. We've been divided for too long. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm off again. Okay, so these cells have energy. And we've got energy all around us. And when the energy is healthy energy, when it's getting what it needs, it vibrates at the perfect chords and hertz to give us this incredible Eden all around us. But when it's out of sync, it's not there. And that's been manipulated with. So we know that we're electric creatures now. And they're fixing hearts through electricity because they know that. But you know what? The ancients knew it a long time ago. I mean, the stuff I'm learning now is from ancient of days, from physicists that knew there was more to it. So I believe that whoever created our DNA or prescribed our instructions or directions for our cells, I think they tried several times throughout history and made different types, trying to get the right type human, one that was smart enough but not too smart, capable, but not too capable, and also not smart enough to figure anything out. And maybe they just wanted to see each time the earth rolled around through its cycle of 12,000 years or whatever, maybe each great year the conductor, the programmer, the head CPU up there, and what Doug calls the die-hold, maybe they're waiting to see 1 year or one period or cycle where humanity actually gets it together and doesn't allow society to make it into sheep, programmed sheep that have come to the point where they don't question anything and believe everything and anything. And it's sad because we need to hold each other accountable. At this point, from what I've seen in life, humans are full of opportunity for error. And anyway, I don't know if I said anything or not, but I'm sure I got off track. I was trying to communicate what I believed the world was, and I lost my place in that. Let me keep trying on that. So each of those little toroids of cells are also the energy from inside of us. And that energy inside of us creates sound, and the sound creates the words, and the words are based on physics. So every sound has an XYZ basis for a letter type. And that letter type is a vibration or a sound. And that's what creates what we send out in words and sounds and vibrations. So they're actually toroidals of energy that we're putting out into the universe. And those toroidals of energy are not unlike the toroidals of energy that make us, that create us, and every living thing, depending on its instructions. So it's much more simple than we thought. And then the cells have energy if they are healthy. And that energy, hold on, I gotta get the dog thing. That energy has a life force, which is the spark of every cell that causes it to be life. And that energy works together, if it's handled right, into a bliss, a joy, when every cell works together. And that is caused by, well, lots of things. Meditation, understanding who we are, our vibration, our words, our consciousness, what we think about. But, I think it's a lot more than that. What we see more. Because what we see is a vortex. So seed germination then is when the band is playing and the cells are having such a good time that they do the bump and it causes a spark. And that is a funnel that implodes, that spark implodes through a funnel. And that causes all kinds of great things. And it's called implosion. And I wish I could explain it better. I see it better than I'm going to learn to explain it. It's like a funnel or a toothpaste tube that you squeeze out and it causes a spark. And that is an implosion that comes from everything working together. And does that make sense? And when everything does that, even our skin, we forget about, hold on. We forget about, I am here. I am here. I'm just trying to manage water and my hat and the dog and the leash and all that stuff. No one else is here in the park. So I'm good. Pretty good. So anyway. Okay, does any of that make sense? So that implosion is what we're after. And one example of that is if you have even done not a lot of stuff with eyes, and you see how our eyes look out through tiny, dots, and that's implosion. And so that projects in mirrors, and that's how we see. And that is a good example of what makes that music. I'm trying. It's the harmony of everything, and then, it's a great song. That's what it is. That's what we are. We're great songs. We're individually directed. And isn't that wonderful to know that? And none of us are exactly alike, but we're all alike. We're part of the puzzle, each piece. And the puzzle is plasma. And plasma feeds us. The sun's plasma is our lifeblood. We just can't live without it. The light, the heat, the vitamin D, which I understand is not really a vitamin, but I haven't learned much about that yet. Anyway, I don't know if this is going to help you or confuse you more, but I'm right at that point of seeing the picture, but not able to explain it because I'm not good on the terms. I can only use my own. And so once I come to understand the words and their meanings, I'll be better. But that language thing is huge. That's what I'm anxious to also teach about, is how we really, really do write our lives. And oh my God, we've got so much to do, and it is exciting as all get out. I don't even know how I look. It doesn't matter. Anyway, thanks for hanging in there if you did.